Welcome to your Daily Writing Habit, episode number 252. If you are writing a book or thinking about it, or maybe you're trying to finish a book that you've started at some point, or maybe you've already written a book and you need help reaching more readers, you are in the right place. Good morning. I'm your host, Christine Whitmarsh, also known as Christine Inc., I-N-K, like the stuff you write with, christine-inc.com if you'd like to connect with me. Each day I'm sharing with you the writing habits I've learned over my 18 years as a ghostwriter, book coach, and author. I have found that three things in particular have a huge impact on your success as an author, and they have the ability to turn someone who doesn't even see themselves as a writer into a published author. Those three things are writing fundamentals, productivity, and mindset habits. Here's today's quote. "It is easier to tone down a wild idea than to think up a new one." Alex Fackney Osborne. So as I just mentioned, I've been a professional ghostwriter for 18 years. I mentioned that at the top of the broadcast every day. So as of this summer, so I guess technically 18 and a half years. I remember I got my first ghostwriting job in July of 2001 out in Los Angeles. Anyway, one of the things I get to do as part of my job as a ghostwriter, and I actually take great joy in doing, is extracting people's stories and messages through interview calls. So quite often ones they didn't even know they had inside them. So how do I do this? Because it occurred to me, and this is what motivated today's topic, that what if as an author you could do this for yourself? What if you could be your own ghostwriter and uncover stories, messages, insights, and other ideas that maybe you didn't even know you had within you? First, let's go back to my ghostwriting clients and my ghostwriting process for a moment and how I do this. Basically, it's through the art of open, free-flowing, no holds barred, or not overly structured conversations. So in other words, I definitely have an agenda for my calls, kind of a loose structure for my calls with my clients, but I'm very careful to let it go where it goes, let it go where it flows. So that's the first part, is don't create so much structure that you kind of inhibit all those ideas from coming forth. The second part is to ask the right questions. Taking this to the next level, I find that it's near the end of the conversation. So after my client and I kind of think that we've got it all and we start looking around the mental room, like when you check out of a hotel and you're kind of like looking in the drawers and under the bed and all the things to make sure you got everything, that's when sometimes the best gems are discovered, lurking in previously unseen corners. It's the, one more last thing I thought of moments. Those added footnotes and sidebars to the conversation, those more often than not yield some of the best insights. Why is this? Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that by that point, my client has been talking and exploring their book idea for a little while, usually a couple hours, and in doing so, they've developed clarity, we both have actually, that neither one of us had at the beginning of the conversation. So that's my first tip for the do-it-yourself, the DIY version of ghostwriting interviewing. Allow yourself some good brainstorming thinking time to unpack your book and all the things that could potentially go in it. Next, there's the matter of asking yourself the right questions to help unpack all this genius. The keys here are to ask yourself as many questions as possible and to avoid censoring or editing the responses that come forward. Trust your gut instincts here, even if they initially don't make sense. Record or write everything down during your brainstorming session. So recording is actually a good idea because then you can use a transcription service or transcribe it yourself so that you capture everything. So you might just want to talk into a recorder because you never know where things are going to lead. So you want to make sure you capture everything. Also, for the interviewing piece, rather than asking yourself questions, you could actually have a friend interview you. Tell them what you're out to accomplish, give them maybe some initial questions to get them started, but let them take it from there. This person doesn't need to be experienced in writing or interviewing. As a matter of fact, most people by nature are great interviewers simply because of our naturally curious nature as individuals. And remember that one last thing piece of the conversation at the end when you're both trying to wrap it up and you think you've got it all, because that's where the real gems tend to unearth themselves. So, don't cut yourselves off at the pass before you need to. So I hope these kind of behind the scenes of ghostwriting, these ghostwriting interviewing tips, help you uncover fascinating stories and ideas for your future book. Thank you for joining me here on Your Daily Writing Habit, where I'm helping you write and finish writing an awesome book. And be sure and drop by my Inc. Authors group on Facebook or LinkedIn to say hello and ask us for what you need to help finish your book. Inc. I-N-K Authors on Facebook or LinkedIn. Thank you for listening, and until tomorrow, happy writing.